Water is the most pliable and yielding substance. Nothing, however, is better than water for breaking through the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu. The rigidity of their minds hijacks many people. In a chaotic universe, thinking in categories and fixed ideas can be a great crutch for survival. However, rigid thinking has many negative consequences. We become stuck in our ideas of how things are or should be when we see the world in categories and separate boxes. Because the universe is constantly changing and most, if not all, things are more complex than our minds can comprehend, a more fruitful approach to life would be one that is flexible, tangible, and allows us to flow along in peace. You could say, kind of like water. According to Taoist philosophy, weakness, or more specifically, the ability and willingness to yield, can be a great strength, contrary to popular belief. As a result, Lao Tzu says that the supreme good is exactly like water. In this video, we will look at the advantages of being less rigid and becoming more fluid with the way we live. Deference to nature is one of the characteristics of Taoist philosophy. Nature's ways are all-encompassing. The fundamental principle of how the universe works, manifested as ongoing change, is the dance between opposites. When we look closely at nature with the Taoist lens perspective, we can see two powers working together, the yin and the yang. Yang embodies the more active aspects of existence, such as speed, restlessness, productivity, excitement, aggression, and outgoingness, but it also embodies hardness, dryness, and stiffness. Yin is made of more passive aspects such as silence, receptiveness, not reacting rather than reacting, softness, and flexibility. Our culture values life's yang aspects. It's all about being faster, bigger, more, and better, standing your ground, defending your unwavering beliefs, confronting and clashing with the enemy, and changing rather than adapting. Yin aspects, on the other hand, are scorned. For example, being receptive to opposing viewpoints and willing to change your mind is frequently regarded as a sign of weakness. When we examine the nature of water, we will discover that it is extremely resilient to change, as water can take many different forms. We can pour water into a glass, and when it becomes part of the ocean, it waves. Water changes its behavior depending on the outside temperature. When it is cooked, it evaporates, and when it is frozen, it solidifies. As a result, water adapts to a wide range of conditions. Water's softness gives living things more strength because it makes them more flexible and thus more resilient to outside forces. According to Lao Tzu, the living are soft and yielding, while the dead are rigid and stiff. Plants that are alive are supple and sensitive. Those that are dead are brittle and dry. Brittle and dry things shatter easily and are either nearly dead or are essentially already dead. The same applies to stern and rigid minds. Because they prefer stability to the uncertainty of impermanence, those who are stiff and harsh typically struggle to adapt to change. Change is unavoidable, which is unfortunate for these folks. Life is ephemeral. If life were eternal, it would cease to exist. As a result, when we resist the truth of impermanence, we expend a lot of energy trying to stop what is inevitable. There are many ways that change manifests in life. It could be subtle. A fresh coworker, for instance, or significant life events like relocating abroad, divorce, or even passing away could occur. If we were to compare life to a river, then subtle twists and turns would be tiny changes. A sharp curve in the road would be a significant shift, and the river's discharge into the ocean would be death. No matter what occurs, the river adapts to the new environment and flows with the flow, effortlessly navigating around obstacles and changing terrain. The river merely dissolves into something else as it approaches its final destruction without a struggle or fight. As a result, we move through life in a continuous stream, dodging obstacles in our path and not putting up a fight against even the most extreme changes, like death. However, we would also simply remain motionless and act like a container of water when we were restrained until our situation changed. The Tao Te Ching contains Lao Tzu's claim that the soft triumphs the hard. He uses water as a metaphor for this claim, since it has the ability to erode even the toughest materials, like rock and metal, yet being soft and pliable. Everyone is aware that flexibility and softness triumph over rigidity and hardness, but only few are able to put this understanding into practice. In order to conquer the hard by being soft, we must learn how to be like water. First and foremost, Taoism is a philosophy that emphasizes not forcing anything. We can see from experience that using force is not only draining, but it frequently has no positive effect. This is not to say that we should never employ force in some circumstances. However, when it comes to long-term outcomes, as well as saving our energy in maintaining a calm mind, utilizing a soft approach is frequently preferable than using force. Every circumstance offers some advantages. The dust can settle in calm water and make it transparent. Water flowing through different landscapes and locations nourishes the creatures it comes into contact with. In the Yang society in which we currently reside, only the active aspect of human existence, the component that centers around accomplishment, quickness, and success, seems to be valued. We become educated, assume a lot of responsibility for our jobs and families, strive hard to become wealthy as rapidly as we can, and assess one another as human doings rather than as human people. Most people find it undesirable to be useless, stupid, unattractive, or poor. But if we can develop the flexibility to see the good in the bad, we'll see that these undesirable traits actually have certain advantages. It all depends on how you perceive it. For instance, being poor means having less money and belongings to worry about. Being ugly means we're less likely to wind up in a string of violent relationships. And being ugly implies that people admire us for our personality rather than our appearance. A story of a crooked tree that lumberjacks deemed unusable because it couldn't produce useful wooden planks is told in the Taoist text Xuanzi. This tree was so distorted in comparison to straight trees. Then Xuanzi appeared and said, "Actually, the tree is quite ideal as a location to relax." The tree was never cut down, since the lumberjacks believed it to be useless. As a result, it grew old and large and was later converted into a holy site. The tree's inefficiency was therefore responsible for its extended life. Being worthless may not result in a positive reputation, and will likely prompt humiliation and blame for our surroundings. But it also results in less obligations, less stress, and most likely a life that is considerably more relaxed. Every cloud has a bright side. Water also always seeks out the lowest points and makes the best of situations that no one wants to be in. Water's tenderness and even the wind's blowing force can break even the toughest of rocks. Consequently, a renowned actor, philosopher, and martial artist once said a very famous and well-remembered quote, "Be like water, my friend." Have some shame if you don't know who said this. Anyways, that will wrap it up for today. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to watching this video. Stay flowing in peace.